What is going on, Governors? Chisgule here, and we are back with more Crazy War in Kingdom 51. This is footage, select clips from day 2. We're going to try something a little different today where we've got Chisgule from the future in front of Chisgule from the past, narrating kind of the different things that have happened during the course of the video, and a couple spicy things in this video. The first is that we're going to talk about why we were even at war in the first place. And the second is that we get freaking rallied again by a T5 player. And that'll be at the tail end of this video. We'll do some evaluation of the report as well as the commanders at play. And I was a little bit surprised when I took a detailed look at that report. If you like war videos, you should definitely like and subscribe because believe it or not, the craziest stuff is yet to happen. And we are a sponsored creator for Rise of Civilizations. Now, what you see here is me getting caught out of position with an infantry army. And this, my friends, is the problem with infantry. They're slow. This is the problem that CPO has, is it's very easy for them to get caught out of position. Now, I'm using Richard I from Martel, level 60 Richard I. You can see I try to go into Mitch's city, but at that exact moment I try to enter, he pieced out. So then I had to make my way to a flag. Pardon me. We'll look at the report in just a second, but I basically got multiple T5 armies beating on me. And the good news is, Richard is a beast. Richard's a total beast. So you can see here we take some small amount of wounded units, but like it's honestly not that bad, and we did a fair amount of damage back to them. We also hunted down Dauntless and Gladiators got T5, so I don't know how well that went. Anyways, pretty major open field skirmish, and I feel really bad for Fun Factory here, who's just got caught completely out of position with an army that really can't handle being caught out of position. This is why I think if you are in the realm of being like a free-to-play or a low spender, you really should be using cavalry primarily in the open field for the talent Charge, which gives you a 30% speed boost when you're below 50% health. Anyways, at this point, the open field is pretty darn spicy. Mojo shows up. I don't know how much exactly Mojo can do here. And we also have some allies showing up from N and L, our family clan. And we try to hone in on this one player who doesn't have T5. But, let me tell you, it's really tough to be battling in the open field when there's a bunch of T5s around. You have to play very, very smart, and even at my 30+ million power at this point, I've only just gotten to the point where maybe I can do some work on a T5 player if they're not looking, which is kind of nuts. So with that said, let's talk for a little bit about why we're even in this war in the first place. Now, if you've been following along with Kingdom 51, you know that there's been some huge drama with Marvel. You should definitely check out some of my past videos where we really have some crazy war footage. In this particular instance, we have invited Marvel in to the Lost Temple area. We said, hey, come on in. All this warring is over. It's silly. It's done with. Let's act as partners. Let's move forward together. And we gave them a pretty sizable chunk of land right at our underbelly, exposing a ton of our flags. And the hope was that that would all be fine and good. And my personal hope was that we'd sort of hold out until KVK eventually gets announced at some point, and then it's Kumbaya land because everybody's got this external motivation KVK that they want to prepare for. That said, there was some funky stuff that was starting to happen. During Mighty Governor, instead of coming to us and talking about how we might do Mighty Governor differently, they just sort of said, hey, during the Mighty Governor event, we're going to battle armies. Any army we see that we want to hit, we're going to hit. Something like that. That wasn't exactly the rule that they had sort of come up with. And we're going to do it, they said in Zone 3. And it was sort of like, this is just what we are doing. This is what we are doing. As opposed to like talking about it like a partnership. This is what we're doing. It's a courtesy we're letting you know. right? Which is not a great, that's not a good indicator to me that we're trying to act as partners. The next thing that got weird for me was that they built some flags in areas that were beyond the areas that we had drawn out in our map for where they would build flags. And I said, look, I know you guys kind of like, you're just building these flags because you need land to farm, even though each of these flags, and you're looking at one of them right now, each of these flags doesn't really give you that much more land. I know you guys are really pressed for space, so it's fine. And they're like, yeah, we're just doing it because we want to have land to farm. I said, great. Then, P.S., we got a huge open field combat going on over here. Then it got even more weird when the alliance TMI, which has a T5 player, attacked our allies. And when our allies were attacked, we went to defend them. And then Marvel went to defend the other army, the other alliance. And I don't know if Marvel had a relationship with TMI. I know several members of Marvel had come from TMI. But, we're not allowed to defend our allies without ending up in a war with Marvel? What's going on here? And then Marvel kind of merged with TMI in the middle of all that weirdness. And they were like, oh, yes, TMI gets to keep all the territory they took. Even though, Faceless was mostly offline. Faceless is the name of our ally. They are in a totally different time zone. So they were all basically asleep when they got attacked. So right as they were all coming online to take their territory back, they were like, oh, we've now merged with TMI. Stop all warring. It's all over now. They're a part of our family. And Faceless is like, what the heck? We didn't even get to fight to take our land back. They took our level 3 pass. What's going on here? So anyways, all that was getting kind of weird. And at some point, multiple of my officers kind of turned to me and said, hey, Chisgule, they're kind of walking all over you. And I have no ego about all this, right? I have no ego about all this. But the problem is that Legion was not being treated as a partner. And it was felt... Well, hold on. This is really important to talk about, this particular clip. This player, ENJHK, was playing incredibly well in defending this flag. They had multiple armies that they put into the flag, and every time it would get rallied, they would dodge the rally, walk back into the structure, repair it. And so eventually, LN2, our allies, felt like they had to swarm attack it, which was very costly for them. It was very costly for them to swarm attack it, a lot of deaths. They felt like that was the only way to actually make progress on this flag. I will say, HK7 has some really excellent technical play in this video series, and, well, I don't want to spoil how it all ends, but, yeah, we'll talk more about HK7 in a bit. So anyways, I'm getting all this advice that's like, look, dude, Marvel's kind of walking all over you, and it looks to me like they're preparing now to be able to attack us from multiple fronts. They claimed all the land on the west side of the map. Now they've got an alliance on the east side of the map. They claimed one of our passes from an ally. We're getting surrounded here. And it shocked me that even my peace advisors, my advisors who are generally advocate for peace, said, nope, it's time for war. It's over. This didn't work. And so I let them organize when and where we might go to war. I said, if you think that's what needs to happen, then that's what needs to happen. And I went to actually a job interview that day and came back to discover, actually, we are, in fact, at war. So that was ultimately how the war started. And this, by the way, is a pretty funny game of chicken that Bujan and I are playing here, where I'm in this flag, and he sends a bunch of armies at it like he's going to swarm it. Do I want to have my one march take on 4 T5 army expansion marches? Nah. And I think he's just playing with me here, right? Like you see, he sent all the marches and then he sent them all back. Bouchon and I had some pretty funny exchanges, and he's a pretty chill dude. He and I chatted a fair amount. Anyways, so we went to war, and this particular moment in the war was really sad for me. When one of my allies, Rostock, is getting basically zeroed, and he gets rallied, I think, a couple times, and there's just like nothing we can do to help them, really. Like they don't have a garrison commander set, and even if they did, it's a City Hall 23 versus, it's like a 10 million-ish power player versus a 65 million power player. And you can see here now Dauntless is really going to zero Rothstock, which is really frustrating. Although he'll get his own piece of that pie, a taste of what that is like soon enough. It sucks. This person's getting zeroed, and there's not a lot we can do about it. And they later came on and said, "Oh man, like their peace shield wore off, and they like didn't have a timer," which is really a bummer. Here you see me trying to snipe one of these guys. I think eventually I switch gears and go for the player hitting Rothstock City, but it's tough. I'm not really in a great position to go defend their city because they're sitting right next to a T5 player who can just send out a bunch of marches and completely wreck me. For the duration of the war, Rostock basically camped their remaining army in my city, and I became sort of like a battle cruiser. Like I'd teleport somewhere, and a bunch of people who were camped in my city would run around and go and do stuff, and then come back to my city, and we'd teleport to the next place and the next place. This sort of helped save on teleports, but also sort of protected their troops. I say sort of protected their troops because, like, man, we get rallied an insane number of times during this war. It gets kind of insane. So here you're gonna see me now go for Dauntless, where I'm just like, dude, you're still here. You need to stop. This has to stop. So here we go. And maybe I should have just got in the city so that he would have to deal with me and take deaths. But now he's running away. So, we don't even really get to do anything about it. Now, I want to show you, you see, right there I queued up going to that city so that if I got attacked or if I felt like I was too much in the danger zone, I could push one button to get to where I was trying to go. Here we do a good bit more sniping. We're chasing this player down. I did not realize at the time Joker of God was a rename of Babbles, who is a T5 player. So if you're going to hit T5, it may as well be when they're looking the other way. And hopefully I pull up the report, but like, man, we take a remarkable amount of damage from this T5 player, even though they're not even doing skill attacks on us. Ugh. All right, so once we sort of end up being kind of deeper into or even approaching Marvel territory, we zip back to safety. I'll say during the course of this war, I perhaps played a little more defensively and cautiously than I needed to. I think I could have got more value being a little bit more aggressive, even though I would have been caught out probably in more situations. Now here you can see a short clip of our allies in VYG rallying HK7 cities. The rallies back and forth were just pretty nuts, and the biggest losers in this war are really like the players who sort of know the least about what's going on. They're the ones least invested in being in the war in the first place because they don't know, like, should I have a peace shield on, and they just don't know how to defend themselves. Anyways, here is where we get T5 rallied again. This is Bujan coming in hot. This time we're ready for it. We've got literally all of our troops back in our city. Everybody's healed up. We are 100% ready to take this rally, and we've got probably a not small amount of reinforcements chilling in our city. Now you'll notice here that we're doing pretty solid damage. I don't know if we're actually reinforced. Maybe we're not. But like, look, if this battle is looking even, then we're winning. Because they have 100% deaths when they attack a city instead of severely injured units, and we have 50%. And that's the reason to be taking these rallies. The reason to be taking these rallies is to reduce the enemy's ability to wage war. Period. We can do that pretty darn effectively, and now you're about to see in this report just how darn effectively this can go. Bada boom, baby. We got 16,000 dead. They have almost 100,000 dead. Big deal. Attacking a city is a huge mistake. A properly garrisoned city with a proper number of troops, we're talking about north of 1 million, already there. Yeah, I mean, you are going to get wrecked. And here we take a look at the troop buffs, and I was shocked to see a incorrectly skilled Mehmed II. The first skill was at 3 instead of maxed. Mind blown. Commander management is a crucial part of this game, and gosh, I have to think they could have been doing so much more work if they had actually unlocked the first skill completely. And I'll also point out that I can't figure out why they're using Mehmed II as the primary, when instead they could be using a level 56 star, what's his face? Barca. They should use that's 14 talent points. I think Barca should have been the primary. They should have had the right build. That's my 2 cents. Maybe they've got their Barca talented for hitting flags instead of hitting cities. I don't know. Either way, I think that Barca should have been the play. Well, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do like and subscribe. Let me know, like, what's better? Music? Me overlaid commenting on what's happening? Let me know, and until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom.